Command codes verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Hello, Captains, and welcome to the live broadcast recording of episode 508 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. Thank you all for joining us on this Tuesday evening. Shout out to Tracy Licoco if you're still watching. To Dave and Josh. Josh, thank you so very much. That's very kind of you. It's good to have you with us is really what matters. Thank you all for joining us on this evening. How are you, Roscoe? How are you, Kat?
Pretty good.
Very, very good. Thank you, my man.
How was that,
ticking along quite nicely.
How was that marathon of yours?
Oh, yeah, okay. Wow. Epic, absolutely epic. So I ended up hitting the wall after about 13 miles. And so I was out. I went through, It basically, you had to be back at the starting grid to run the next lap at the start of the next hour. And I was on my hands and knees trying not to vomit and just thinking, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then a little voice in my head said, get up and get in that starting grid so you can at least start it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get up. I'm going to do that. So I grabbed my water pack and I turned around. And then the bell went and I missed it and I was too late. So I was out. But I still ran for 4 hours, covered 16 miles. There were people there who covered 100 miles, 150 miles.
I would have hit
the just insane amounts.
Half a mile.
I probably wouldn't have even made it that far. I'm like, where's the bar? Oh, wait, I need a Bloody Mary.
Yeah, there was a bar afterwards, and I can tell you it was well attended.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was just out at this, I guess this guy's property, his farm, his ranch, if you will, and yeah, so running around, dodging cowpats, and spotting kangaroos, and just a regular Sunday run out in the middle of nowhere in Queensland. So it was good. Yeah.
I mean, do you jump over the
apparently
spiders?
in the evening because they ran all night.
Yeah. Ultra running is no joke.
Yeah.
But what about
jump
the
over
spiders?
Jump over the sticks because they could be snakes. Oh yeah, there's occasionally a spider web that you may have to navigate. But of course you can't see it, so you just look like a crazy person running along going, oh my God. So that's fun.
You got cicadas yet, Elio?
No, not yet. I am gonna go live. I swear to God. At least when they come, when they pop up,
do it.
When they come up where they're not flying yet, I want to go to a place where I've described that it's covered. I'll probably try to do that, at least that. And Allie's never seen it. She wasn't here yet. She wasn't in Princeton when the last one hit. So yeah, I'll probably do a little live stream and then just stay indoors for 4 weeks.
Yeah, we can all share in the horror.
I just read a stupid article on The Guardian about how chefs are so excited because insects are the protein of the future. We're gonna have a great time cooking cicadas. Like, shut the frack up, No. I don't want cicada ice cream. I don't want cicada toppings on my pizza. I don't want cicada anything. I don't want cicada flambe. Nothing. Cut that shit out.
So they know you can just get chicken, right? You can get chicken or beef. You don't have to just eat insects and you can just
don't eat those.
Yeah.
You could just put cheese on it.
Yeah.
You don't even need any of that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just people are nuts. But, I mean, it is true though. It's very true that eating insects, there is a science behind it. The carbon emissions would drop significantly if we moved away from our reliance on cattle and chicken and all that stuff. I get it.
Absolutely. That doesn't mean you have to eat insects.
Right,
you could just not eat cattle and pigs and chickens.
So anyway, this is a Star Trek podcast.
Jason Smith says hello and also says, Elio, you're kind of quiet. So crank those levels, my friend.
I adjusted.
Oh. Hey, Jason. And hey, teacher guy.
Yeah, I don't want to peek.
Teacher guy is here.
What's up, teacher guy?
Simi is here as well.
All right, let's jump in and do a show, shall we? Roscoe, can you do the cold? I did the cold open last week, right?
Yes.
All right, so Roscoe, why don't you?
So I can do that, if you would like.
Please.
Happy to. No problemo. This week on episode 508 of Priority 1, Anson Mount updates fans on the status of Strange New Worlds. Paramount Plus is serious about its streaming. The mobile game Star Trek Fleet Command meets the next generation. And Chase Masterson joins us to talk about the Pop Culture Hero Coalition.
Hello, Captains. You're listening to episode 508 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. Your weekly recap and review of all the major news happening in the Star Trek multiverse. This episode was recorded on Tuesday, May 11th at This episode was recorded on Tuesday, May 11th, and available for download or streaming on Friday, May 14th at PriorityOnePodcast.com. I'm Elio.
I'm Kat.
And
I'm Tony.
Well done. Well done. That was an excellent comeback, sir.
Woo, gauntlet thrown.
Gauntlet
Dang.
thrown indeed. Gauntlet thrown indeed. Well, Roscoe.
That's been a couple of weeks coming. Tony knows what he did. I listened to After Hours. He knows what he did.
Well, it's good to have you back, and we hope that you had an excellent run.
Thank you. Yes, it went very well. It was a great community run. They had about half the numbers that they actually expected because it was postponed due to a COVID lockdown. So instead of about 200 runners, they had 88. But an amazing feat of long distance running because the guy who won the event ended up running for 44 hours and covered almost 300 kilometers. It was an absolutely insane amount, almost very close to 200 miles if he had run for 48 hours. So yeah, absolutely amazing. So if you're looking for a long distance event, look up a Backyard Ultra. I don't know whether I can recommend it. I can tell you about it, and it's very hard. But yeah, quite the challenge, but feeling good, and my legs are much less sore this week.
Well, it's good to have you back, sir. It's good to have you back.
All right. Now, we want to welcome new listeners to the show as well and hope you'll stay in touch. You see, we're a podcast produced by the community, a community of Star Trek fans. So it's important that we hear your opinions as well. Be sure to follow us on places like Twitter and Facebook, where we post weekly community questions, special announcements, and more. Just search for Priority One Podcast on your favorite app and you'll find us. Or you can also email us. You can contact us at incoming@PriorityOnePodcast.com.
As Roscoe said, this is a community podcast produced by a team of volunteers that dedicate their time and talents each and every week. From audio editors to writers to us, the hosts, we come together each week because we're passionate about the Star Trek multiverse. And like any passion project, it's hard to keep things running at no cost. So if you find value in this production and want to help us continue to grow, check us out at our Patreon page. There you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. Speaking of patrons, big shout out. Oh, we already talked about them.
New. No, this is new.
Oh, new? Man, we're getting new patrons. Awesome. Speaking of patrons, big shout out to 2 new patrons who just joined the family this week, Adam and Lance. Thanks, y'all.
Welcome, Adam.
Welcome.
Welcome, Lance, to the Patreon family. We hope you enjoy the extra content that we provide to our patrons over at patreon.com. Now, again, captains, we understand these are difficult times and you may not have the financial means, but that doesn't mean you still cannot help the show. For instance, when we post something on social media, make sure to retweet it and share it with your friends. Or if you'd like to join the group, we have several positions that we're hoping to fill within our production, from audio editing to community management to video editing, you name it. If you want to be a part of the Priority One production, visit PriorityOnePodcast.com, and up at the top you'll see a link that says join the team. There you'll find information about those positions and a little form that lets you apply. I'm done.
Okay. Now let's find out what's been happening in the Star Trek multiverse.
All right. That ended at 5:08, please. Get your mind again this week.
Nope. Okay. Right.
All right. You guys just want to jump into check it out?
Ow.
Let's
Sure.
do it.
Did your dog just bite you?
No, I think it was a mosquito.
No.
No, you would have noticed if the dog had jumped up here. Also, he got yelled at.
All right. Yeah, let's jump into Trek It Out. Sorry.
While we're into Trek It Out, Elio, just double check your mic, man. It is coming through very, very low.
Well,
still, I think so.
My dials are at the same as they are every week. I think what we're noticing this time is we got a lot of background noise from Kat. So I'm kind of I might be getting a little drowned out. But if I don't want to bring my dial up anymore, because then the recording, I'll have peaks, and that's harder to manage than.
Cool, man.
Could bring down Kat.
No problem.
Sorry. I'm going to have a different setup at my new house, though.
Oh, nice. All right, cool.
I don't know what it is yet, because I'm not there.
Yeah.
Splashing out on a new backdrop?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
New house?
I mean, yeah, you could.
Fit the decor?
Might have to switch it up.
All right, let's jump.
You should buy that giant chair that Worf used to have with the bubbles. Podcast from that.
Oh, that's right.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be amazing.
You just sit there.
We know where to get it.
Way to bring back an article from a few weeks ago. Way to bring it back
around.
Circling around. Way to go.
Yeah.
All right. Trek it out at 7:30, please. And okay, this is Vasco. All right, 3, 2.
If you're looking to add to your existing Star Trek collection, then you might want to trek out Exo-6's latest product. Now available for pre-order is a 1/6 scale articulated figure of Captain Jean-Luc Picard in the style and uniform from Star Trek First Contact. The figurine has over 30 points of articulation that allow you to recreate some of your favorite moments from the film. Kung Fu grip not included. It has a Type 2 hand phaser, the TR-590 Tricorder X, or a Type 3B phaser rifle. So if you're looking to add to your collection, you can pre-order now for $20 US, but the total cost will be $189.95 plus $25 US international shipping.
You know, this is... these figures are odd to me. I think the Data one resembles Brent Spiner a little more, but this particular one, I can tell that it's supposed to be Sir Patrick Stewart. But there's something weird. It's not an Uncanny Valley kind of weirdness. It's just it's not quite right.
Let me look at it. Oh, yeah.
It's the Madame Tussauds effect.
Yeah,
because the Madame Tussauds waxworks, they measure, they go through the process of having the person come in and going through to make sure it's an accurate as representation as possible. But it's still not quite right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at what they have here. I don't know. It's something about... maybe it's the lighting or the way the cheekbones are. But yeah, it looks not right.
Our friends in the chat, Teacher Guy says, I'm not sure I have 30 points of articulation.
Me neither, Teacher Guy, man.
You're not alone.
2, 3,
well,
4.
It's a pricey... well, it's got a nice, it's going to set you back $200. Hold on, let me take a photo. Well, it's going to set you back about $200. So if you are into these high detail replicas, be sure to trek it out. Links, of course, will be in the show notes. Oh, shit.
I always like the ones with the voice chip. I always like those. So does it come with a button that you press where it just screams no and throws a phaser through some glass? Then I will pony up $200.
And does the tricorder have the purple stripe? Because, those are the good ones.
Well, as you might...
and a Type 3 phaser that's...
well, as you might recall from a previous episode, we mentioned that Gates McFadden was getting into podcasting. Well, her new podcast, Gates McFadden Investigates Who Do You Think You Are, launches on May 12th. Now, this is a limited podcast series where Gates McFadden invites some of her besties over for a chat. Who's on the lineup? Well, to name a few, Jonathan Frakes, LeVar Burton, Will Wheaton, Brent Spiner, Marina Sirtis, Michael Dorn, John Delancey, Robert Picardo, Michael Westmore, and obviously so many more. Now, each show is less interview and more one-on-one intimate conversation. The Nacelle cast promises that Investigates will feature never-before-heard stories from the stars and creatives behind Star Trek. Now, while we are very excited to listen to the new podcast, we do have some unfortunate news. McFadden confirmed this week to TrekMovie.com that she will not be reprising her role as Beverly Crusher in Season 2 of Star Trek Picard, saying, quote, "I'm not in the second season. I'm sad that I'm not. Things have changed a lot on different levels, so I have no idea at this point. I'm disappointed because it would have been so much fun to just work with those people. But we'll see. I have no idea. I wish I could tell you." End quote.
You know, what does that mean? Things have changed a lot on different levels. That's interesting. I'm wondering, if they've been rotating. We've had all the shakeups with the streaming places and everybody poaching other people from, networks going here and there. So I'm wondering if the production crew, the producing staff has changed even since they started filming Star Trek Picard.
Maybe there's a cap on the number of extra cast members you can have due to COVID restrictions, just to keep everyone safe. We're going to limit to a specific number of people as co-stars, as extras, as people who are guest stars as well. That could be a possibility.
I'm really eager to hear these stories, right? Because I've been fortunate enough to have been able to attend a few conventions now. And, it's great to see them on stage, and some of them are just natural-born performers, and they just feed off of the audience. But, after a couple of Star Trek conventions, you start to hear a lot of the same stories. So, this promotion of never-before-seen this... Excuse me. My vocal cords just... So this promotion of never-before-heard stories really intrigues me.
Yeah, I'm really excited to listen to this series. It sounds really interesting.
The list of names is quite impressive, although I have to make a point, Elio, that you dropped Denise Crosby off the list at the end. And once again, Tasha Yar is forgotten. She is in there. She's on the cast list, but still, Denise Crosby will be on the list.
That's not fair.
Looking forward to that.
The list started getting long. That's not fair. All right, here, let's move on to the next.
That's what they said in season 1, man.
Who wants to read it? Well, who's got the next story?
Kat, would you like to read this one?
Well, no,
actually, Kat reads the next one.
Yeah. So, Roscoe, why don't you read it?
I can do this one. Is that me?
Yeah. Go ahead. Read it.
Yep. Cool. It's the core mantra of the Vulcan philosophy and the overall Star Trek franchise. Infinite diversity in infinite combinations. This week, Rod Roddenberry reflected on the guiding principle of his father, Gene Roddenberry, who was born a century ago in 1921. Speaking with the website The Credits, Rod Roddenberry spoke about his father and the future he predicted for everyone. Quote, "He took more of a humanistic or a realistic approach. What could it be like one day? How did he see us 200, 300 years in the future? My father took the approach that we're sort of a juvenile child race species right now, but we grow like any species, like any life form does, and we mature. In that future, we realize it's the diversity in idea, not just form. The fact that we are fighting over the fact that we look different now is childish. We need to be embracing the uniqueness between us because that's how you grow. End quote. Rod goes on to speak about diversity being the strength of Star Trek and how it has always been the goal of the series. Quote, I can tell you that everyone who has worked on these new shows, start that again.
This is a long
Quote,
quote. I don't know
I
that
can tell you...
Yeah, I don't know that I want to
What's
read
that?
This is a long quote. I don't know that I want to read the whole thing. I can tell you that anyone who has worked in these...
Trim it up.
Maybe
trim it up.
start at no matter.
I can do that.
Yeah. It's a good idea. But you can't.
Quote, no matter what your ethnic, gender, socioeconomic, religious, political background is, it should all be represented at some level on Star Trek. That's what humanity is and needs to be. That's what Star Trek is. End quote. For the full article, check out our show notes.
It's always nice to see Rod representing his father and the true philosophy of what Star Trek should be and endeavor to continue to be as it creates new content for mass consumption, right? There's an artistry to the development of there should be an artistry to the development of Star Trek that doesn't just appeal to our more primal natures of needing explosions and drama all around and plot holes and whatnot. So it's good to see that he's still holding on to that philosophy.
Yeah, I think he really does take, that mission seriously. For him, he really does live to further the message of infinite diversity and infinite combinations. And they have a foundation that donate a lot of money to some really interesting future tech kind of things that are going on. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, it's great to be a part of the Roddenberry Podcast Network because sometimes we hear about these things first, and we share these ideals. So that's a plug for the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Remember, we have our sister shows like Women at Warp, Daily Star Trek News, Mission Log, The Trek Files with Larry Nemechek, and new shows that keep coming out periodically. So be sure to visit roddenberry.com and stay up to date with what Rod's doing.
Yeah, it's really wonderful that Star Trek has a mission that no matter who you are, you can see yourself reflected in some form in a Star Trek series over the course of its life. And if it's not there yet, then hopefully they're working towards that. And really, that's what it comes down to. More diverse voices, more diverse fingers pressing consoles for large explosions.
All right, let's move to the next story.
All right. In an effort to compete with other streaming services, Paramount Plus is leaning into its new cinema... Oh, that's not even a word in that sentence. Never mind. In an effort to compete with other streaming services, Paramount Plus is leaning into its cinema pedigree. The promise is an addition of 1,000 movies to their library in June, bringing the total available on the site to over two... The promise is an addition of 1,000 movies to their library in June, bringing the total available on the site to over 2,500. According to The Hollywood Reporter, it's all part of Viacom CBS's plan to counter Disney Plus's catalog of Marvel and Star Wars titles, or HBO Max and their same-day cinema and streaming releases. CEO Bob Bakish announced the plan, as well as future exclusive titles on Thursday's Viacom CBS's first quarter earnings conference call. Bakish said the new Mark Wahlberg film Infinite will forego a theatrical release and go straight to on-demand. We're also going to see a, quote, mountain of movies, end quote. Wait, is that really what he said? A mountain of movies.
A mountain of movies.
All right, hold on.
Feel free to say it like mountain of movies.
Yeah, that's probably better.
All right.
Yeah.
We're also going to see a mountain of movies. That being
I
an original...
I want you to try it one more time and give me a pause between and mountain.
Because we want lots of echo.
Okay. We're going to see a Mountain of Movies. That being an original movie every week in 2022. Backish also let shareholders know the company's subscriber base has grown substantially since the rebrand to Paramount Plus, adding 6 million global streaming subscribers in its first quarter to reach 36 million global paid streaming users.
This
Wow.
is nonsense. Nonsense. Okay, I let me first. There's so much to unpack here. First of all, they have a lot of catching up to do if they want to be producing shows that are up to par with what Netflix, Marvel, and HBO are doing, and even Amazon. Number one. Number two, this mountain of movies being an original movie every week in 2020. Has anybody heard of the Hallmark Network? I mean, every movie that they produce isn't an incredible hit.
Lifetime channel. They do
Lifetime.
those. I mean, come on.
Another
those
one.
networks are just for those movies.
Why would you commit to an original movie every week in 2021? You see, this goes back to that, we're going to throw everything at the wall and just see what sticks. Why? Why can't you, why is there no thought, right? There's no creative thought, creative vision, right? No, it's just like a broad, like taking a Gatling gun and just all over the place, right? It's just crazy. Nothing focused, nothing, no plan. I can't even put words into it anymore.
It was really interesting to read the article and hear what Bob had to say when he was promoting the Mark Wahlberg film Infinite. And he said, and I quote, "People really like Mark Wahlberg," end quote. So he was really selling it, really getting on board. You can see where this is going. 1,000 movies in their library. Okay, 2,500 films in there. A mountain of movies that works for their branding. I understand that, but I agree they still have a lot of catching up to do. They will keep on building their subscriber base. 36 million global paid streaming users is nothing to sneeze at. But again, they're still playing catch up. One of the things they did mention, though, is that original programming helps drive new subscribers, one of those being Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, I was just going to point that out, which, I mean, to be fair, that's probably why we all subscribed, if you even did. But yeah, there's a lot in that shareholder meeting, that they were saying, but I can't believe it's 36 million global paid streaming users.
Yeah, I wonder if there I don't know, the truth behind the numbers, right? Because it's not like it's not like it's not like the Nielsen ratings, right? It's not something that, it's a number that they release, right? It's what we get from the company, right? So that, I don't know, I feel like that number could have been, what's the word? Not manipulated.
Finessed?
No, blown up.
Massaged?
When something's like blown out of...
Caressed?
Inflated.
Inflated, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I just feel like that number sounds a bit inflated, and really, at the core of this, yes, it's that catch-up. But like I mentioned earlier, there's just no foresight, right? There's no plan. They just are gonna spend money to create things and hope that people continue to subscribe, and what we're gonna get are Lifetime Hallmark movies. And why?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're saying that the biggest drivers of, new subscriptions were like the live sporting events and other, Oprah interviews and things like that, special event things that people signed up for. But also kids programming, SpongeBob is real popular.
Right.
So, I mean, that could explain a good chunk of that.
Yeah, and, Teacher Guy brings up a good point, right? Like, the number sounds inflated, and, yeah, it could be 36 million people signed up,
Oh,
But,
good point.
you know, are they counting the people that signed up for the trial, and then, you know, like what's the lifespan of the subscription, right? Are they subscribing for 3 months while Star Trek is live? Are they subscribing for a week to watch the Super Bowl? You know what? That's a weird number.
And
Oh,
sport
no.
was a big driver for Paramount Plus as well. Ken from Chicago mentioned it in the chat. Also, Teacher Guy returns in the chat, said, I went to see live music last week. I've been waiting for that for so long. I'm just not there with movies. I want to go back to theatres, but not the same way. So potentially 1,000 new films dropping on a streaming service isn't a bad thing at the moment, because people are still nervous to head back to an actual cinema.
Right. SpongeBob Goes to the Supermarket is the kind of movies we're gonna get. It's just gonna be SpongeBob just doing his list, right? An hour.
I mean, in select states, that could go down very well
right.
late in the evening.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're very relaxed, that could be just the thing to get you through the day.
All right, let's move on to this next one.
And the Paramount Plus rollout continues across the globe. Announced this week were some of the details of how Viacom CBS's existing streaming services in Australia will be transformed. In an article in the Age newspaper, it was revealed Australia's Channel 10, owned by Viacom CBS, will rebrand its 10 All-Access streaming platform to Paramount Plus in August. In an article in the Age newspaper, it was revealed Australia's Channel 10, owned by Viacom CBS, will rebrand All Access to Paramount Plus in August. Plus will consume 10's existing subscription offering and bring with it shows from channels like Showtime and Nickelodeon, and studios like Paramount Pictures. Showtime, Nickelodeon, and Paramount are all divisions of Viacom CBS, which bought 10 in 2017. The shuffling of the streaming services will be an interesting one to watch in Australia. The market is already flooded with choice. Paramount Plus will have to compete with Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, as well as local platforms Stan and Foxtel. Presently, Netflix hold the international rights to screen Star Trek Discovery, whereas Amazon Prime have Picard and Lower Decks. So what will this mean for international viewers' access to new Trek? For a link to the stories, check out our show notes. So watching this
story doesn't mean anything to me because, according to QAnon, Australia doesn't exist.
Really?
How dare you?
I know.
Come on.
I know Australia.
We exist
because
we're in an alternate timeline, okay? And we're in a. Everyone's got goatees.
I know
or
Australia
mullets.
exists because there's a delay in Roscoe's responses to me.
Hey, come on! I upgraded the internet here. Hopefully that delay's a little bit better.
That's better. So this is good news.
And
for
look,
you
here's
in
the thing.
Australia.
I think so, and I think it's interesting to see the price point because services like Foxtel is $25 a month, Disney Plus is $11.99, Netflix is $10.99, Paramount Plus will cost $8.99. So they are pricing themselves a little bit lower in order to enter the market. That will be very interesting. About 17 million Australians watched at least one subscription TV service last year. So there is a market there. It's a smaller market compared to the US, but in terms of international content, it's always interesting to see where shows end up and when. I mean, Australia and international viewers, we didn't get to officially see Lower Decks until much later because of rights with other streaming services and so on. So we had to wait quite a while to actually sit down and properly watch Lower Decks on a streaming service.
Well, that leads us to our next... Well, that leads us to our community question this week. How are you currently watching new episodes of Star Trek if you live outside of the United States? Is Star Trek one of the deciding factors in your choice of streaming services? Let us know in the comments section for this episode at PriorityOnePodcast.com or by replying to our community question post on our social media channels like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Kat, why don't you give us the opening for here? Now, here are a few headlines.
All right. Now, here are a few headlines that we didn't discuss but might interest you. Links, of course, will be in our show notes.
While promoting his latest film, The Virtuoso, Anson Mount spoke with Radio Times' Paul Simpson about getting back into the captain's chair of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. According to Mount, although COVID protocols have required everyone to adapt, quote, "It's been one of the smoothest starts I think I've ever had in television," end quote. Additionally, it sounds like some of the production staff have crossed over from Star Trek Discovery, making the transition much easier. Roscoe.
Star Trek Discovery Season 3 will be released on Blu-ray on July 20 of this year. The 4-disc collection will also include over 2 hours of special features. Nothing as to whether there will be a... No news as to whether there will be a 4K release of Star Trek Discovery. No news as to whether there will be a 4K release of Discovery.
Okay.
Not falling into your trap, Leo.
It's bullshit.
And
that there's
I see
still
what
no
you
4K.
did.
There's still no 4K. Sorry.
And actor Nathan Jung, who appeared in Star Trek The Original Series, has died at the age of 74. Over the years, he had roles on TV and film, including The A-Team, Kung Fu, Big Trouble in Little China, and the Kentucky Fried Movie. But it was Trek that helped launch his career. Jung played Genghis Khan in the episode The Savage Curtain in 1969.
Roscoe, can you read that? Actually, I'll take it. Remember, captains, to learn more about these headlines, be sure to review the show notes for this episode at PriorityOnePodcast.com. Cam. Did I say Cam? Sounded like Cam.
Sounded fine to me.
All right, that's fine.
I couldn't tell. Well, captains, that's all the news we have to Trek out this week. Now let's find out what happened in the world of Star Trek gaming.
I'm sorry, 3323, please. Alrighty then. Let's jump into gaming news. Are you sure, Jamal, that they don't... How are they not filming in 4K? It's a science fiction show. Are you sure about that? Jamal? I love Jamal. Thank you, Jamal. Thank you for thank you for posting on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch. Thank you. You know how those algorithms work. So I appreciate you, Jamal. I know what you're doing, man. Thank you.
Jamal is pretty sure they don't film in 4K.
I feel like we should get... I want to get a definitive answer on this, because... How is it that a science fiction show is not filming in 4K?
They don't have the
2020?
cameras.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, yeah, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah,
What do you mean?
yeah,
What?
sure. Yeah. Oh, how can they not do it? They don't have the cameras. Oh, they should be doing it, but conceptually, how can they not be doing this thing?
I see. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
You got there. I got there. We all
All right.
got there. I hope we got there.
35-minute mark, please. For gaming in... Who's Mr. September? 3, 2... The USS Enterprise F designed? My Cuban accent came through there.
Designed by Marone.
By Thomas Moroni, will be included in the 2022 Star Trek Ships of the Line calendar series, published by Universe Publishing. Okay. The USS Enterprise
The challenge to Thomas is to don't send the artwork and just send a photo of him. just like that.
All right, actually, you know what? Stone News at 35:40, please. I'm sorry, Cap.
Let's start that again.
The USS Enterprise F, designed by Thomas Maroney, will be included in the 2022 Star Trek Ships of the Line calendar series, published by Universe Publishing. This is the first time a ship from Star Trek Online has appeared in the calendar series. Other ships from the original series, The Next Generation, even Other ships from the original series, The Next Generation, and even Deep Space Nine are also featured, and the calendar includes some ship designs and cutaway diagrams. Maybe we should start calling Thomas Mr. September.
Yeah. It's a sexy design of that Enterprise F for sure. Yeah, I might actually get that calendar series. It's got some really cool artwork. Plus the September.
It was a go-to Christmas present for me.
Yeah, I'm
for
like
many-
absolutely
for many
stocking
years.
stuffers for all your people. Everyone needs a new calendar.
Mhm.
Roscoe, why don't you take this next one?
It's always. Earlier this week, our favourite environment artist, Nick Dogood, streamed his design and build of a fusion reactor.
Do good.
This is a fascinating...
Roscoe.
What's-
Do good.
Yeah.
Do good.
What?
You said
Do good?
You said do good, and it's do gid. Id.
Do gid.
Yeah.
Do gid. Do good. Sorry, Nick. He's probably watching. Do gid. All right, y'all. Earlier this week, our favourite environment artist, Nick Dogood, streamed his design and build of a fusion reactor. This is a fascinating video, though. Nick walks us through his process from forming an idea to actually building an asset. It seems like we're just watching what a day at work is like for Nick. The video ends with him showcasing the final design, and it's an amazing piece of work.
Yeah, I've never seen the bit-by-bit design of, something that goes into the game, and it was really cool to watch that. I definitely would not have the patience for it because it's like very detailed, and there's math involved, of course, and what's really cool is Nick really thinks about like what he's building, like how the science works around it. So, man, it was a really good video.
I like the laying out of all the textures and seeing that as like a block, and that's how it will reflect different surfaces. It's absolutely fascinating to watch that process and appreciate the work that goes into something that will be a piece of background art. It's the environment. That's what Nick is. That's what he does. It's what he's so good at. So yeah, it gave me a new appreciation of the work that goes into it.
Yeah, it's so much work. The video was not short.
Yeah.
Exacting and extremely detailed, specific.
Good news for console captains this... Wait, did I read the first story? Roscoe read the... No, Kat... Wait, I read the first story. Yeah, so Kat, you read the story. Sorry.
All right. Good news for console captains this week with the Delta Recruit event coming to consoles from May 13th on... balls. Sorry.
I don't think I ever heard you I mean, that's not really a curse, but it was definitely...
My lord!
All right. There is a mosquito in here. I'm getting eaten to death. All right. Awesome. Good news for console captains this week with the Delta... I can't even concentrate anymore. Good news... Okay. Good news for console captains this week with the Delta Recruit event coming to consoles from May 13th on PlayStation and Xbox. The event will run for 28 days and includes improvements to the existing recruit rewards to remove out-of-date missions and introduce new rewards. It's a great way to earn extra rewards on your account, so why not take the opportunity to create a new character? Any
Let me
freshly
change
made.
that.
Okay.
Saying rewards 2-minute
I know. I was like,
tasks.
that's a lot of rewards.
Yeah, it's a very rewarding program.
It's a great way to earn extra perks on your account, so why not take the opportunity to create a new character? Any freshly made 2409 Starfleet oh, damn it. Any freshly made 2409 Starfleet character, Klingon defense. It's been a day. This is awesome.
Hang on. Let me just tidy this up here. Please hold.
Make good radio. Balls.
Yeah. Balls. Lordy, I got the vapors. Stuff like
It's been an exasperating day. Any freshly made 2409 characters from Starfleet, the Klingon Defense Force, or the Romulan Republic is eligible to become a recruit for the 28 days the
Take it from is eligible.
is eligible to become a recruit for the 28 days the event runs. Okay. Also, from May 13th to 20th, console captains can claim a free Phoenix prize pack each day. Visit Ona on Deep Space Nine or get gritty with Grim on Drozana Station to claim your pack. And lastly, for console, the Jovian Intel Heavy Raider from Season 3 of Discovery is finally making it to the game. The new Tier 6 ship will be available via the Infinity Lockbox. Nice.
This is old, right?
Yeah.
All right. And in other... Okay. Now, turning our attention to mobile gaming, Scopely's Star Trek Fleet Command introduced a new... Wait, Roscoe, did you read one already? Yeah, you read one already, right?
I did.
Turning our attention to mobile gaming, Scopely's Star Trek Fleet Command introduced a new era of characters from the Star Trek multiverse on May 11th. Now available are characters from TNG, like Geordi, Deanna, Data, Beverly, Will, and Jean-Luc. But according to a post on StarTrek.com, quote, the event will continue to evolve over time, with new surprises rolling out in the following months, end quote. Speaking of Fleet Command, have you guys watched the promo videos featuring Sonequa Martin Green and Carl Urban?
I saw that there were videos, but I haven't watched them yet, but I heard they were hilarious.
Roscoe, have you?
No.
All right.
No.
Never mind.
Did you
about
watch
these.
them?
We'll just cut this out. Cut
All right.
this question out. Actually, I know how to phrase this. Now, Captain.
Before we do that,
Yeah.
maybe as the event continues to evolve, we will see, fingers crossed, Lieutenant J turn up in Fleet Command.
Oh,
that'd
that
be
would
cool.
be cool.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'll vote for
Tracy Lee
that.
Coco showing up in a mobile game. That'd be awesome. Now, you might have already seen on social media some of the promotional videos featuring Sonequa Martin Green and Carl Urban promoting the game in a friendly battle in their starships and their bases, so be sure to check those out. Links, of course, will be in the show notes.
That's the news from Trek Games this week. Now let's open hailing frequencies and see what's incoming.
No.
Oh, damn it. That's the news from Trek Games this week. Now we welcome Chase Masterson to discuss the Pop Culture Hero Coalition.
And if you are a patron, 4455. And if you're a patron of our podcast, the interview is now available for download. It's a video version of our interview. So you can watch us do the interview with Chase Masterson, and everybody else will have to wait till Friday with our show. But our patrons get that early access.
Inside word, she was delightful.
She's lovely.
All
And I had to leave about halfway through because it was very early in the morning here. And I said, "Oh, sorry, Chase, I have to go. I have to go do some radio." And she said, "That makes sense because you have a lovely voice." And I went,
She did say
"Thanks
that.
very much. I gotta go." Thanks. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's okay. I'm cool, man. Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. Fine. Yeah.
She complimented
Keep
your
together.
shirt
It's cool.
too, right?
I know. Yeah.
Right.
I was wearing my Terran Empire shirt too. So
That was your first.
again, the vapors.
That
The
was your
vapors.
first Priority One interview, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my first proper Star Trek interview with someone who's actually been on the program. Not the first chance I've had to actually talk to them, but still, it was weird to jump onto a video conference call like this and just there they are staring back at you. It's always a challenge, but they're very nice people. And you just got to remember that they are human and they want to be asked nice questions.
That is
And
true.
so hopefully we did that.
I hope so. Cat ran off.
Do you have a favorite, Elio, over the last couple of years? You know, who's been one that you have just, you look back and you go, you know what? Yeah, that was a great interview. That was great fun.
a great I remember, you know what I remember? I remember like little flubs with some interviews. I don't know. Yeah, those are the interviews I remember. The interviews where something went wrong, right? And like they stick out. One of them is a classic, which was it was, I forget what year it was. It must have been 2018. And Ira Stephen Bear was walking around the convention floor with his camera crew, and he stops at the Roddenberry podcast table, and it was just me and Allison Kenna from Daily Star Trek News, and she totally threw me under the bus. I still wasn't like a big fan of Deep Space Nine. I still had I had qualms about it. And she totally threw me under the bus and was like, "But you don't really like Deep Space Nine, do you, Elio?" In front of Ira Stephen Bear. And it was like, I saw the truck coming at me, the bus coming at me. It was like that scene in Groundhog Day with Bill Murray just before he jumps in front of the truck. Or just, What's another one that I remember? I mean, that one's a good one.
That's a doozy.
This was I think it was my second year at Vegas, and I interviewed Michael Westmore, and I really didn't know who he was. I had no idea who he was. No clue. We were sharing the booth with Trek Radio, and it must have been Lisa from Trek Radio. Like, she's like, "Can you do this interview with Michael Westmore? Nobody's available. Can you do it?" Blah, blah. And so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And yeah, I tried to play it off. Like, for those who don't know, who are you? Like, I tried to play it off, but it was apparent that I had no clue who he was. Now I know. I mean,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that.
You fall back on the three-part interview. You do the beginning, the middle, and the end. So how did you come to be here at the convention here today, Michael? Yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun, particularly when you don't know anything about it, and then at some point, maybe halfway through, it clicks and you realize who that person is. I've done a few interviews like that, not Trek related, but just in general, where you're just talking, and then the penny drops. You're like in your head, just going, "Oh, I know who this person is now." And then you ask a more insightful question, and then the interview goes much smoother.
Right. Kat, do you have a favorite interview that you've done so far while being on the show?
Everyone's so great. I mean, Mary Chieffo, she's great. I think Alexander Siddig, though, was one of my favorites.
Yeah, you know what? Alexander Siddig had heart, man. He had a lot of heart.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, so great.
That was a great interview to watch. That was very good. I really enjoyed that.
I mean, just his, he seems magical. The people that have the the shine.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into feedback and close it out for tonight. 50-40, please. 50-40 for the start of this. All right, 3, 2. Well, captains, hailing frequencies are now open, and we're ready to receive all of your incoming messages.
Last week, Star Trek Online invited players to defend Earth's space dock on the Tribble test server from an invasion by Jimpok. Amidst the chaos and pervasive game crashes, it emerged that cryptic were testing a new code branch and needed many players for load testing. But it got us thinking for last week's community question. Would live events excite you in Star Trek Online, and how would you like them to be implemented?
From our Facebook group, which, if you're not already a member, just look us up on Facebook, Priority One Podcast. We do have a Facebook group that our friend Ray Borg posts lots of Star Trek related links, and we have conversations periodically. So look us up on Facebook. But Robert Halloway writes, I would absolutely love a live event every once in a while. My only problem is, and I don't know if it's because I'm playing on Linux, I don't have access to the Tribble server. But a live event would be awesome. Thanks again for your amazing podcast. Now, I did reply to Robert directly because in the comment, because it might just be that he hasn't transferred over his character over to Tribble. Like, he hasn't registered for Tribble. So I shared the link. There is a link for you to register your character for the Tribble test server, and then it'll migrate the character over. It's a copy of your current character. And, hopefully that worked out for him. But, Robert, thank you for inviting us into your Sunday drive to work.
All right. From the Priority One Armada, Shy Raven brings up an excellent point. I'm not really into live events, but a lot of people are, so I guess it might be worth trying in Star Trek Online. Maybe they could have them happen repeatedly and at different times of the day, so time zones aren't an obstacle.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and something I kept seeing time and again in the replies is, I work during the day, or, I may not be around. And that's true. That's absolutely true. But a good live events team is going to adapt for that, right? They're going to do it at various times throughout the day so that, if you're at work in the morning, people, let's say you're in the United States, right? And they do it from 9 to 5. Well, yeah, sure, you might miss it, but our friends across the pond are going to be able to play it because it's the evening for them, right? So then a good live events team is going to stagger it throughout the day.
Yeah, because I know when I try to join in on the Priority One Armada live stream, that is a Saturday night for the Armada. But for me, it's a relaxing Sunday lunchtime. So I will hook in and power up and, attack Pat and Omega, and everything's great. But that's my lunchtime. From Facebook, Matt Black agrees, saying, most definitely having something like Mr. Sadig discussed about having him appear at a certain planet or station. It would probably have to be on a weekend or an evening, or held on a couple of days to allow for the time zones and people's work schedules.
The other thing too that was brought up, actually Al Rivera, Star Trek Online's lead designer, brought up, like, what about red alerts? Aren't red alerts a live event? No, red alerts and TFOs and, the tentpole events aren't live. They aren't happening live. They're scheduled, right? What live events really, by at least how I think of them, is something that isn't the same from everything else, right? And is a change of pace from what we're used to. So, yeah, it's kind of like a red alert, but, it's happening in a social zone that things don't normally happen in, or a live event where, all of a sudden you beam down to Deep Space Nine and you can have a conversation with Dr. Bashir, right? Something like that. Now, like we talked about it last week, it doesn't lend itself to Star Trek Online because of instancing and player caps, but that's what I'm talking about with live events. Kat, why don't you take this one since I talked?
Where are we?
Jason
Oh.
has-
Okay. From Twitter, Jason Smith says, live events would be nice, maybe linked to a release story arc. For example, when they first released the parts of the Iconian War arc, they could have had Earth space dock under attack and other places. But Stowe is more of a... Wait, what do you say? Hold on. But Stowe is more of a sci-fi story MMO than other sci-fi MMOs, which aim for a live open world feel. Which, yeah, he has a point too there. That it's story driven. But that, I mean, you could still do a live, you could do something, special event wise, I feel like.
I feel like that's a really good point that it's a sci-fi story MMO. But I also think that the Stowe team are creative enough to incorporate that. Again, go back to Dr. Bashir, incorporate that into the story, make it part of the narrative, that live event. It's got potential.
Right.
But from Twitter, and lastly from Twitter, Ambassador Kale. Is it Kale? Cole?
Kale.
Kale.
And lastly from Twitter, Ambassador Kale himself offered a final word, saying, as fascinating as the topic is, we'll never be able to do it. Live servers are stronger than Tribble, for sure, but we can't really risk accidentally dropping the servers due to player hugs. Not to mention, if a brand new player steps onto Earth space dock for the first time and is immediately ganked by a level 99 Targ, that's just a bad experience. It's a fun thing for Tribble, but it'd likely never make it to live.
The technical hurdle for sure, but for a first-time player, I don't agree with. A live events team, is gonna be prepared for that, right? They're gonna think outside the box, where players can participate at whatever level. Again, this is just exploring the what if. Just kind of imagining what it would be like. But that wraps up. And with that, we'll wrap up episode 508 of Priority One, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. But there are more great shows available to you on the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Just visit podcasts.roddenberry.com for a complete list. Then be sure to subscribe to them all and share them with your friends.
And we can't forget to send a special thanks to some of our Patreon supporters like David K. Rutley, Peter Archibald, and Gerald Bosch.
And in case you forgot, our community question this week: how are you currently watching new episodes of Star Trek outside of the United States? Is Star Trek one of those deciding factors in your choice of a streaming platform?
Captains, it's important to us that you get your voice heard and that you participate in the conversation. Leave us a comment on our website at priorityonepodcast.com, on our Facebook page at facebook.com/PriorityOnePodcast, or find us on Twitter and Instagram at PriorityOnePod.
And if you're still craving more, be sure to spend time with Winters, Anthony, Thomas, Gray, me, plus the rest of the Priority One Armada. Saturday nights, the Armada broadcasts live to review the latest news from Star Trek Online and the Armada community, including spotlighting some of our amazing members. With regular giveaways, there's something for all Stowe players, whether you're new or a veteran. Follow us on all our social media accounts for broadcast times, and if you'd like to join the Armada, visit PriorityOneArmada.com.
This episode of Priority One is brought to you by our patrons through patreon.com. Now, captains, during these incredibly difficult times, we are humbled by the continued support of our patrons, listeners like you, who find value in the content that we produce each and every week. Consider supporting the show by visiting patreon.com/priority1.
And don't forget to tune into Priority One Productions' Guard Frequency podcast at guardfrequency.com. Each episode, the Guard will take you inside the universe of your favorite space sims, including a tabletop adventure played out by your hosts.
Not only do you have to, now here's the thing, that was great, but you also have to do it like you're rushing, like you left the oven on. There's a fire.
Yep.
Right, and forget vowels. It's just forget consonants. He drops consonants all the time. It's just
okay.
It's fast vowels is what he does.
Okay. All right. And captains, don't forget to tune into Priority One Productions' Guard Frequency podcast at guardfrequency.com. Each episode, the Guard will take you inside the universe of your favorite space sims, including a tabletop adventure played out by your hosts. And Heroes Rise brings you up to date with the world of Dungeons & Dragons. Learn about all the latest publications, tools, tips, tricks, and traps in less time than it takes to skin a wyvern. Head over to heroesrisepodcast.com to discover their secrets.
Classic.
I can't. He has to listen to the show. He has to listen to the show. Oh, man.
Enjoy that, Tiny. Enjoy.
Thanks to our audio editors, including Gray, Brandon, William, Rand, Daniel, Lennon, and Alex. Thanks to our producer, Jake, and associate producers, Shane and Thomas. Together, they help us organize and write up our summary of the weekly headlines from the Star Trek multiverse. Thanks to our graphic artist, Alejandro, with support from Jason of the Priority One Armada. Thanks to the composer of our theme music, Chris Watts. But most importantly, a big thanks to you, the Star Trek community, our listeners, because without your ongoing support, none of this would be possible. Alrighty. Well, that wraps up this show. Hi, Anne-Marie. It's good to see you in the chat. Kel, Jake, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Hey, Jake. Also for, let's see, Jamal Taylor. 1930s newscaster, that's right. We're happy to do that anytime you like. All the latest news from around this part of the county.
Nick, we were talking about you like 20 minutes ago. We were talking about your live stream. And now you show up now?
Yeah. And Nick, I just learned how to pronounce your name correctly. Man, put in a lot of effort too. Yeah, there we go. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America, and to all the ships at sea. Thank you, teacher guy.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for being with us this Tuesday evening. Thank you for inviting us into your Tuesday night. And we'll see you again next week. Next week, Kat, you're not around.
That's right. I'll be packing more.
And so we have a community guest coming on next week, Rurin.
I love her.
Yeah, so if you don't know who she is a fantastic Star Trek Online fan artist. She also co-hosts Ship Talking with Brandon. And so while they're on break, I thought maybe extend an invitation to see if she'd be interested in filling in. And so she'll be on next week.
So meet her.
Stay tuned.
Tell her hello.
I will.
Because I'll be packing.
for sure. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be on next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Say goodnight, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.